Good evening, service crew. Fighting pilot extraordinaire Ace Windfall, ready for takeoff. It's currently freezing temperatures outside. I'm in pajama pants, and I have opinions. Let's talk. What's up, Harmonica? What's up, Gabriel? Happy Thursday, welcome to both of you. Waste Pinfall. I feel like you've used that one before, but I do like it because waste does go in the bin, even though it's a British term for a trash bin. I like it. Also, I'm so sorry, Gabriel, that daylight savings time does in fact stink. I completely agree. Hopefully we can hash out all my opinions on Arcane in as much time as we can. So, shall we get right into it? I just finished watching Arcane, Season 2, Episode 9, an hour ago. And I took notes on Episode 8 and 9, and I have thoughts on it. Turkey's overrated. Americans sell that dry-ass bird too well. First and foremost, I don't know if I agree with you, because if I'm going to be real, Gabriel, I think I mostly only have turkey on Thanksgiving. So it probably is overrated, but I only eat it once a year. Technically like 2 or 3 times a year, but all in like the one period, like the week time. So I think it's fine. It probably is worse if you try to have it more often. I don't know. I've literally never had it as like a lunch meat or anything like that, so I have no opinions. Never had turkey. The joys of being a vegan vegetarian. Maybe you had. Is there like a fake turkey, a furky? But I meant the fact is it's 4 minutes past. Oh no, I think Sultari Gabriel has mentioned before that Brazil does not observe daylight savings time, and so whenever our clocks got set back, both in America and in parts of Europe, Gabriel's did not, and Gabriel is currently up later than normal, which is very unfortunate. Yes! Yes! Oh, yes! Oh, sick. Not as good as Season 1, we know. Wait, hold on. Is that a known thing in the full community, or is that just you guys know that I don't like it as much as Season 1? I'm gonna be real. As some of you might know, I don't know what discourse is. I don't live on the internet. I get like, I follow like 12 people. Most of them are just people that retweet anime girls or foxes. I'm gonna be 100% real. So I have literally zero knowledge of Arcane discourse, which is why I'm here and doing this one. Peace, I haven't watched it yet. Enjoy it, Harmonica, if you end up watching it. Otherwise, have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving. Overall consensus good. I'm glad that I'm right as usual, first and foremost. I would say it is well worth watching, though, just so then you can watch this VOD back and then feel how vindicated I feel that I was allegedly right. Because Season 1 is just infinitely better. I guess how do we want to approach this? How do we want to start with it? Because we didn't really talk about Season 1 as much either, right? Where I think Season 1 is a like 8 out of 10, cresting a 9 out of 10 for just general media. And I think that mostly stems from the fact that it's simple. The stakes are fairly low, all things considered. I mean, like, there are some larger stakes, but generally speaking, it's a fairly grounded piece about a family, about like Vi and Kate and Jinx for the most part. With like your little like Victor and Jace and Mel and all that stuff is kind of like in the background for a lot of Season 1, which I wanted it to be more of, but it's fine because at the end of the day, it was about like Silco and Jinx and Vi, or yeah, no, it's Silco, Jinx, Vi, Kate, and Vander, right? Where Vander has these 2 girls, Powder and Violet, who then grow up. Vander dies in front of them through like Powder's mishandling of a situation, and it's about like that fracturing them, splitting them apart. In a similar way, there's the idea of like Piltover and Zaun. Like everything about Season 1 is so simple, and that's why it's good media. It's about the small family there, and about how like Vander, it's basically just opposing ideas, right? It's Vander versus Silco, it's Piltover versus Zaun. It's like the idea of doing what's right and by the law versus what's right and by the law, even if it's not that great, versus like what's against the law, but like it might do better for the greater good, right? Like there. On a simple story, on a story level, it's very simple, it's very basic. Again, stakes are very low, and I feel like the pacing was so much more there in Season 1, where you have 3 whole episodes. All of Act 1 of Season 1 is following Powder and Violet when they're children, and I thought like maybe it was gonna be the first episode, but it ended up being 3 whole episodes, which looking back, I'm so happy that they did that, because I don't know if they would have done the same thing if they made it in 2024, because it felt like season 2 was too fast was one of the main things. So the fact that season 1 took 3 whole episodes, an entire act to set up these kids as characters as kids, set up the world they lived in, and so you really get to know those like streets. You really get to know like the shop where there's that dang old little kid who sent them to go on that mission in the first place, and he has his like little boss guy. I don't know who Echo's dad was, or what the dude that was caring for Echo's name was, even though he was in episode 7, which was the best episode of season 7. Season 2. I completely agree on that. Holy moly. But it's just so nice. It's just that it desperately needs a few more episodes. Yes, agreed, Gabriel. A quote I read on Twitter: the more you think about season 1, the more you love it. The more you think about season 2, the more you find things you don't like. Yes. And I've been thinking about season 2 since I started watching it, so I found a lot of things that I was like, this is a little bit missed. And I think it is mostly from a lot of things. So I've kind of said why I like season 1, where it's stakes. And I guess the biggest thing with season 1, before we go into like my dissection of season 2, is I like Silco. I think season 2 desperately needed Silco, or a Silco-esque character. And what I mean by that, outside of the fact that everyone loves Silco because he's such a fun character, Silco is also a character that the story can revolve around or pivot around, and you know, he's the antagonist, right? He's the big bad. He's the one pushing for Zon independence. He's the one who is the father figure to Jinx. He's the one that then Vi and Kate are in opposition to, because Kate knows that Jinx is doing stuff, and Jinx works for Silco, so she's like trying to pin down Silco. The council that Jace is part of, that Victor like helps Jace, that Heimerdinger is part of. Heimerdinger's in the story. I have thoughts on that as well. Mel is part of, which Mel's not a giant character in season 1. Like, the council is in direct opposition to Silco because they're, again, opposite sides of the same coin. Silco is so important in season 1. And then, spoilers, obviously he dies. And then it feels rudderless. Was it 5, 6, and 7 are great. I really like the whole Warwick thing in Act 2. I didn't like it that much in Act 3. Okay. So now that I've said my thing on season 1, season 2, I don't know about the Warwick thing, because I think it has potential. I think Warwick had potential, but I think it was just not enough there. That was my favorite character. I wish her whole arc was more well developed. Yes. So, hold on. We gotta. Let's do this right? Let me set this up real quick. That should. And then I think I go back over here, and then I can do that. Perfect. Okay. So. In season 1, the majority of the plot revolves around Vi, Jinx, and Kate, but they're all effectively doing like the same thing. Mostly like Vi and Kate are together. Jinx is a lot of the time with Silco, so I guess it's more like you can basically put it into Kate and Vi are doing things together. Hold on. Transparent selection. Kate and Vi are doing things together. Jinx is doing things with Silco, so you have Silco over here. You have, then you have the council, so you have Jace, you have Mel. You have Mel. You have Victor, who is with Jace. Like you have a line here, you have a line here. You have a line to both of these here, you have a line here. You have Echo. There's a cat in the show? There's a Kate, there's clearly an eye. Haha. Clearly. You have Echo, which Echo, I'm gonna be real, I like Echo. Echo, I think, is my favorite character in Arcane, or one of them. But at the same time, Echo feels like a Deus Ex Machina. I have that in my notes for episode 9, that Echo and the Fireflies are a Deus Ex Machina. Because outside of episode 7, it feels like Echo doesn't do a lot, which I know is not completely true, because Echo effectively is what starts the entire show, because Echo's the one that tells Jinx and Vi what to do. But it's so like Echo needs to have a bigger point in the show, and it's upsetting that he doesn't. Like, this is what it felt like in season 1, where you have basically 8 characters. I guess you have Vander for part of it as well, but he's done in Act 1, and then you just kind of get the ramifications of Vander. Oh god, what else is there? Is there anyone else I'm missing, like big in season 1? I actually have it pulled up on Wikipedia right now. Who's like the cast? You have Violet, Powder, Jace, Caitlyn, Mel, Victor, Silco, Vander, which not important right now. Echo, that's important. Heimerdinger, you do have Heimerdinger technically. He is in Heimer. God, I love writing with a mouse. And you have Ambessa, but she's not really that important in season 1, so I'm not gonna write her down. You have Singe, again, not that important in season 1, and Savika, right? Not that important. Did I spell Heimer wrong? No, I spell Heimer right. Heimer. I'm telling you, this is how it... Look, my handwriting is bad. I'm writing with a mouse right now. It's also very cold out. It's freezing temperatures out. I'm literally only staying warm with this tea that I have right here. But this is what it looks like in season 1. You basically have 4 plots, but a lot of the plots, like these 2 plots, go together a lot. These 2 plots go together a lot. And these plots kind of go together a lot, right? Like you have a lot of plots, but it really gets like head down to like 3. Clicks on stream is talking about Arcane. I haven't watched it. Should I head out? Do you feel like you would want to watch Arcane at some point in the near future, Asmodian? If so, you should probably head out. If you don't think you're going to watch it in the near future, or if you're someone that likes to have a knowledge of things going into it, feel free to stick around. I hope that I can help elucidate if you have any questions on it. I will try to do my best to explain my thought process fully. You might miss some things, but as someone who watches a lot of Red Letter Media, which is a show about movie reviews, and I've only ever watched half those reviews, it could be good content. So it really just depends on if you want to get spoiled or not. Either way, Asmodian, happy Thursday, welcome in. Ambessa was a bit of a letdown. She's not important in season 1. So this is your season 1, like, this is what it looks like. You have basically, we'll cut it into, like, you have 2 plots, right? You have the red plot, which is Council, Arcane, and then you have the bigger plot of the sisters. That's season 1. Very simple. Let's get a lot of space. This is the season 1 area here. Going to sleep by all means. If you need to head out, feel free to head out. I have notes, so if I end up talking to the void, I will talk to the void, and then I will wrap quickly. If need be, it will need be, but I have opinions and I need them known to someone. And if that's just me in a recording, goddamn, it's just me in a recording then. I had years to get into it. It's my fault at this point. Besides, going to something spoiled usually lets me analyze the story better. There we go. Let's go, Asmodian. That's what I hope we can do today, because then you can look at it after hearing my thoughts on either agree with them or disagree, and then we can have a conversation on that later. Assuming that I remember the points that I said, which I think I do because I wrote some of them down. But season 1 is very simple. I think Asmodian, if you watch season 1, I think you'll enjoy it, because I truly think it's a very simple story. It's very real. It's very grounded. It takes place in Piltover and in Zaun. That's it. Entirety of Act 1. On the ground in Zaun in the Understanding. You got a lot of like, the haves and the have-nots. Simple, effective story. Season 2, at the end of season 1, Jinx done shoots a rocket using the arcane hextech technology that is from the A plot here, right? Like a lot of the later half of season 1 is the B, like I guess we'll call them the A plot and the B plot, because honestly, like this is like people care about Vi, Jinx, and Caitlyn. Like they're the ones that sell the show. And in season 1, arguably they are like the main story. In season 2, they are not, and that's why I think season 2 is also weaker, because they focus on these guys a lot, but I don't care about them anymore. But at the end of season 1, or I guess halfway through season 1, the B plot loses something to the A plot, and the A plot like is all about getting the thing back for the B plot. And at the very end, Jinx done shoots a rocket at the B plot, which causes season 2 to happen. Great cliffhanger. The council is in flames, exploded. A lot of things have changed. What's gonna happen? A whole lot of confusion and turmoil, which might be the point, but if so, it was handled poorly. So, first and foremost, what are the characters in Season 2? Well, of course, you have Vi, you have Kate, you have Jinx, which I think is a Y, actually. Did I spell it with an I here? I think it's a Y, technically, but that's not important. You have Vi, Kate, Jinx. You have Silco is now dead. You have Jace. You have Victor. You have Mel. You have Echo, who is now an even bigger... Echo in Season 1, Echo and Heimer not really that big of a characters. In Season 2, also arguably not that big of characters. It's very weird. Because Echo is there as a child in Season 1, in Act 1. And then he kind of disappears, and then he shows up at the very end of the season in Act 3, and it's like, oh, it's Echo! And he has a fun episode, and then he does a thing, and that's it. And then in Season 2, Echo shows up at the beginning in Act 1, he disappears for a bit, and he shows up in the end and he does a thing. And it feels like I'm taking crazy pills in a way, because he should be so much better, but they squander him. They squander him. He goes off to like he goes off on his own little adventure for like 4 episodes. And you know how I made that joke, the joke that I always reuse, where it's like, when so-and-so's not on the screen, everyone should be asking, where's so-and-so? That's me with Echo, unironically. Because Echo and Heimerdinger just disappear from the show for like an entire act and no one cares about them? And it's very confusing as to why that was a decision. Okay, but you have all of these. You also have, then you have Mbessa, Mel's mother. She gets thrown in there. I'm not gonna throw in Savika, even though Savika should be going here. I will throw in Savika because I think Savika has a bigger role in this one, and I want to talk about her more. But I will argue that yes, Savika's not that important, but she is in there a lot, and I want to talk about her because I feel like she got shafted. Singed is huge, actually. Hold on, Singed is huge. He's not that important in Season 1. Basically, in Season 1, Singed makes the glimmer, the shimmer, which is like drugs, effectively, and he's not that important. He's just kind of like a plot point where he made the shimmer, and then he talked to Victor and did a thing. In Season 2, he has a much bigger point, and also, I think his daughter's Oriana, which is extremely hype. I'm gonna get back to that one. If that's true, Season 2, that's like the high point of Season 2 for me, unironically. Unironically, I think the high point was, I think at the very end of Season 2, when they were showing, like, in the last, like, 2 minutes, it shows like Singed looking at his daughter, who is now awoken, and she has like the white skin and she has like golden hair and she's looking at a ballerina, and I legitimately like shouted at my team. I was like, is that Oriana? And I wrote that in my notes. What did I write? I said in all capital letters, wait, is Oriana Singed's daughter? Yo, no shot, based, if true. And I also misspelled all of that because I was really excited. So it was actually, wait, is Oriana Singed Satyr? Yo, no shot, batted, if true. Because I was really excited about that. Officially, when did that lore change? I love that. They reveal on episode 5. I guess, is that when you see the daughter? Because I'm gonna be real, I didn't notice it in episode 5. I was just like, there's a girl in there. I didn't realize that was Oriana. I felt like it felt like they were doing a reveal, but I didn't notice it in that moment. I noticed it when she came out of the thing, though. That was sick. That was like the high point, because I was like, that's one of my characters. That was great. Okay, so we have all those. We have Savika, who gets shafted, Singed. Who else is in Season 2 and actually important? I'm looking through the Wikipedia right now for the characters. Loris, Scar, Rictus, Maddie. I have thoughts on Maddie. Maddie's not a main character. I'm not going to do it. I have thoughts. I'm going to put Isha down here. Isha is going to be a controversial figure. I know I'm going to get some hate for this one, but I have thoughts on that one. I'm going to put LeBlanc. I know she's not really LeBlanc, but that's the easiest way for me to talk about it, is to call her LeBlanc. I think that's all that I really care about. I think that's all the important characters. There's a lot more characters, right? When Kay called him Dr. Revik, Korn Revik is Orion's father-in-law. Oh, that's adorable. I like that. That's fun. Singe got a backstory. Singe is a character that came out of this, I think, unscathed, which I like. Okay, so you have, to reiterate, in season 1, you mostly have 2 plots. You have the A story and you have the B story, where the A story is about like these sisters and their relationship with with Jinx and her father, with Vi and Jinx being sisters. This is not her father; it's her adopted father, right? You have Vi and Kate, which is a romantic one, as we find out. Which obviously there was a lot of underpinnings, and then it was like, oh, is it? But then then they get hot and heavy, and so like it's always been there, but like it's definitely there. What's up, Astral's Goddess? Happy Thursday, welcome in. Happy Thanksgiving. You're just in time for us to start breaking down season 2 of Arcane. So heads up if you have not watched it, or if you have watched it. But like season 1, you have the sister story, and you have like really solid connections between like these two father-daughter relationship, these two sister relationship, these two lovers, and these two obviously you have like the I put that one like thing in the Discord from my notes. In episode 8, I wrote down the following notes verbatim. I said, there are a lot of lesbian homewreckers in this show, and Vi is into NTR, which I said that as a joke because at the time, at a point in season 2, Caitlyn is dating Maddie after Caitlyn was dating Vi. So Caitlyn was dating Vi. Vi goes off to do her own soul searching. Kate instead dates Maddie, which is like a month or 2 later. Like I thought it was gonna be like a year or 2 later. No, it was like a month or 2 later. Season 2 has a lot of issues. But Kate's dating Maddie. At some point near the end in episode 8, Kate breaks Vi out of jail, or I guess releases Vi from jail. There's an entire sequence there. But then Caitlyn tells Vi like, oh, there's been a lot that's happened since you've been gone. I have a girlfriend. I don't know what her exact wordage is, but she's basically like, yeah, I'm seeing someone else now. And Vi's like, I don't care. Vi's into NTR, so that's official. You can write that one down. That's also unrelated. I think it was 6 months. It should have been longer. That's a very minor nitpick from me. Like, there's a lot of other things wrong, but it should have been like 3 years. It should have been the same amount of time as this time skip in season 1. But that's a whole other thing. And then in your B plot of season 1, you had these two, which are inventors, and also maybe there's clearly like there's some relationship here. There's their inventorness and also like a camaraderie or a brothership, or even like if you want to go deeper in it, right? So you have like these connections, which are really important. And then also adorably, you have a connection here, right? Which is why I put this one where Jace was a inventor that Caitlyn's mother is an important character actually in season 1 that dies. Not important right now. But Caitlyn's mother was basically the patron for Jace. So like there's a connection there. And in season 2, you have all these characters, and they all have their own different plots, which is a lot different. Where you have Vi's plot of my sister just destroyed the council, so I don't know what I'm doing. Am I right to be like, do I want to join Caitlyn, or do I want to be my own person? So she has her own distinct plot. You have Caitlyn, who is becomes a dictator, but not really. So that's a distinct plot. You have Jinx, and Jinx actually Jinx is connected with Isha down here. So I'll connect these two because those two are actively connected. So they share a plot. So that's 3 plots. Jace has his own distinct plot where he just disappears for a lot of the show, and then he comes back and he's a villain, but he's not a villain. So that's a distinct plot. I don't agree with that one. Victor, same thing, where he disappears from the show and then comes back and he's not a villain, but then he's a villain. So that's a distinct plot. You have Mel, who disappears from the show and then she comes back. And then she's a wizard, Harry. Which, that's fair. Like, her being a wizard is fine, but you're gonna see that then Echo and Heimer, who disappear from the show, they had so many plots that they had to take 5 characters and they had to get rid of them. And then they had to bring them back. And I didn't think about that until now. I thought like the biggest problem was that there were too many plot lines. And I think the bigger issue is that there were too many plot lines, and that they fixed that issue by just getting rid of like 5 of them and then just showing us them later on. That's really funny, actually. Caitlyn finds fascism. That's so true, but she doesn't go fascist enough. If I can be honest, I'm disappointed in Caitlyn for not going fascist enough. That is an insane statement, but I feel like Caitlyn turning dictator did nothing for her as a character because I don't think she went fascist enough, and or I don't think she got to like think about it enough. Like, Jesus. Yeah, Ambessa is connected to Caitlyn, so I will draw a sign there because that is actually, Ambessa is the devil on Caitlyn's shoulder that's saying like, hey Caitlyn, I'm from Noxus. We're a very fascist kind of society where might makes right, and like Ambessa and like Kate's there's a literal scene where Ambessa gives Caitlyn effectively what's it called in Star Wars where Jar Jar Binks gives the Emperor all his power. Misa thinks give all the power to the Emperor, right? Ambessa has that moment, except Ambessa's, I feel bad calling Ambessa Jar Jar Binks, but you know what I mean. Where Ambessa's like, there's only one woman that can rule Piltover, and it's you, Caitlyn, and they all do the, where they thump on their chest, and it's such a terrifying moment, and Caitlyn like goes up and walks to that one, and like oh my god, like. There's that where Caitlyn's like gonna be a fascist, and there's also like, yeah, the K arc is so disappointing because there's that where Caitlyn's gonna be a fascist. There's also, I don't remember if it was before or after. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the Wikipedia synopsis real quick for season 2 and see which part of it was. Martial law. Hold on. So I think it was. When was the? Yes. Okay. So the gray part was first. So, like, it's so... Let's talk about Caitlyn's arc then. Let's talk about Caitlyn's arc real quick, because that was extremely disappointing, and that's, I think, like, the biggest, like, wet fart for the show is that, Vi and Jinx's story is done. That's the big thing that I felt about season 2. I had talked with someone yesterday about this, so the well might have been poisoned in a sense in that case, where they had mentioned this, and I think I agree with them, where Vi and Jinx kind of like, this is their main story, and they have moments in season 2, but I feel like season 2 really should have been more about Jace and Victor and Echo, and maybe Kate being a fascist. I think I would have loved that one. Yes! Like, I'm really happy she lost an eye. I was really happy that she actually lost something for that. But like, literally the beginning of Act 1 of season 2 is Vi is like, I don't know if I want to be like helping you out. I don't know if I want to be like here. So Vi's kind of out of the story for a little bit. Like, she's having her like soul searching moment of like, my sister just caused a lot of people to die. I'm gonna get drunk at the bottom of a barrel, whatever. Caitlyn, meanwhile, rightfully upset that Jinx killed her mother, destroyed the council, very correct, and then Caitlyn decides, I'm gonna go full fascist, right, where first and foremost, I'm gonna use my mother's key to unlock the secrets of the Grey, which is a literal poison mist that used to be in the Underdark, or the Undercity, but they stored it away so people could live in the Undercity, and Kate's like, you know what'd be sick? If in order to find Jinx, we utilize that poison gas to go and storm into the Undercity, and like, honestly, that was a really cool sequence, because when I saw that gas, I thought that was singed. I thought there was gonna be a cool singed reveal, and instead it was Caitlyn and Vi and like their little stormtrooper brigade, and it was like, oh wow, that's a fun little reversal. You think it's gonna be Singed, a known like villain, but no, it's Caitlyn, and she's doing the villain stuff, and it's like, oh wow, Caitlyn's gonna have her villain arc now. So you have her doing that. You have her like in the gas, in the Underdark, literally hunting people down. Then at the end of Act 1, you have Ambessa doing the giving, what does it even say here? Imposing what is it? Caitlyn hits Vi and leaves her behind. Ambessa, revealed to have orchestrated the memorial attack, blames the assassination attempt on Zaun to engineer the imposition of martial law before appointing Caitlyn as commander-in-chief, which she accepts. And it would have been so fun to see Caitlyn as a dictator, or as someone in that position, and then to realize either near the end, like, oh wait, I've done a bad, or or to just keep being a bad. But she had none of that. She never faced the consequences for being a bad. The show just kind of forgot about it, which felt very disappointing. Like, you have a cool scene where Ambessa and Caitlyn are sparring in, I want to say it's episode 8? No, that doesn't seem right. Because I don't think I have notes for that. It's probably in episode, like, 6. 5 or 6 or 8. Where, like, they're sparring. I think it's 5 or 6, because I remember, like, when they're sparring, Ambessa's right-hand man is, like, doing the thing where he's, like, cooking his runes to make them runic. And it's, like, that's a fun scene where, like, Ambessa's teaching Kate how to be, like, a dictator, how to be an evil person. And then Caitlyn's just like, oh, Vi, hi, it's been a long time. You guys want to, like, not be like, fascists anymore? And Caitlyn was just like, it's like she knew all along that she was being a bad, but we didn't get to see that on screen. So it was very, there was no point. There was no point to Caitlyn being a fascist. Like, oh, I didn't mean to do that one. Hold on. Pam will soon be moving to Microsoft Store. Don't worry about that. Quiet you. I didn't mean to hit product alert. How do I hide this one? Not important. Like, there's no point to Caitlyn being a fascist. It's so weird. At one point, I wanted Vi to not end up with Caitlyn because she straight up didn't deserve Vi. I think I agree a little bit. I think it's fine that they end up together. They're cute. Caitlyn loses an eye. It's kind of like, it's preordained in a way. Act 2 is kind of like the Act 1. A lot of season 2 is just kind of like, it's kind of like or I guess no, it's more like, and then it goes like here. It's very weird. Whoa. There should absolutely be consequences, and I feel like Caitlyn's not even like a hero either, because let me finish this one up. Savika got shafted. Savika has a thing with Jinx and Isha, so I'm gonna connect this one here. Singe is kind of on his own. Singe is a cool character. I like him. He's kind of doing things with Ambessa, but he's kind of on his own. Whatever. Isha, I have thoughts on that one. And LeBlanc is with Mel, which is over here. Should not have used red for all this, but I will. Okay. So, Caitlyn becomes a fascist. No consequence for that. Vi doesn't really have a character. Okay, so Act 2 is speak. That's the thing, is I have thoughts. Act 2, I think, is one of the weaker parts because my thesis statement, I think, is going to be that Act 2 would have been better if we swapped these. Okay, if you can see over here in our season 1 area, we have the A plot of the sisters, and we have the B plot of the boys, right? We'll just call it the girls and the boys, because this is like Vi, Jinx, Kate, and this is like Jason, Victor, right? Or the Zahn and then the Arcane. Like, this is the Arcane plot. And this was done very well, and honestly, this didn't really matter. It was kind of like set dressing in season 1. I would have liked it because they did it at the end, and it feels like it should be more impactful. It feels like this should have been the A plot for the entirety of season 2, and this should have been the B plot instead. But they don't do that. Instead, they kind of like, so if season 1 is like, here's your A plot and here's your B plot, kind of like weaving in and out, it feels like season 2 is like this instead, where it just like cuts in and out, and then like every so often it goes like here and here, where it doesn't weave together very well. And I made this middle part red specifically because that is Act 2, because that is where you have a lot of the Vi, Jinx, Kate stuff with like, because Warwick, I guess technically Warwick's in here. Vander Warwick is a character. I'm gonna call him Warwick. He's a character, but not really a character. I feel like it was mishandled, or it wasn't done correctly. Singe is kind of what connects everyone, which is why I think he's the like the Silco of season 2 in a way, except I don't think he got enough screen time, and he didn't really like matter. He just kind of connected everyone passively. He wasn't an active participant in a lot of things, even though he did things actively. You know what I mean? Whereas he's like, Silco had dreams. Silco had like actual affection for Jinx. Silco wanted Zahn to be free from Piltover. He had active things. He was actively like the head of a like cartel or of like a mafia or whatever you want to call it, right? Silco was out there doing things. Singe's main goal is obviously to get his daughter Oriana alive and well. Great goal, love it for him. Singe does very little active to that extent. You could argue that Warwick is part of it, but I don't like. I get that he made Warwick, but it doesn't feel like there's any connection outside of him making Warwick. He spent all of Act 1 of Season 2, where at the end of the episode, you would see Singed making Warwick. And at first I got excited. In like Episode 1, when it cuts to like Singed going and looking at wolves, I was like, oh, ooh, Warwick, I heard the wolf is in this one. That's fun, that's interesting. And then the Episode 2, it does the same thing where it's like, oh, Singe is still working on Warwick. Okay, got it. End of Episode 3 is the end of Episode 3 when they cart them off to jail. Finally got the name right. Singe feeds his blood into his newly created human wolf hybrid. Okay, so at the end of Episode 3, he's still just making Warwick. Act 2 is when Warwick actually becomes active, and this is where it gets like weird to me, where all of these characters that I really like disappear from Act 2, which is why I think Act 2 is the worst one. Because Act 3 ends with Jace, Echo, and Heimer just disappearing into the Arcane. It ends with Mel going off with LeBlanc, and it ends with Victor. Victor just kind of disappears in Episode like 2, I feel like, to go start a cult, to go be Jesus, which is absolutely amazing and is like one of my favorite parts of the show. But all 5 of these characters disappear, and Act 2 is just about like, the beginning especially is about like Vi, Kate, and Jinx doing stuff on the ground, and I guess like Ambessa kind of like in there as well. Where Episode 4 is like, Episode 4 is when Isha gets carted off to jail, and Jinx goes to save Isha. Very noble, very heroic. Isha is also with Singe in jail. They're in jail together. Singe is dropping the trail for Warwick to follow. And like when they get to jail, Warwick comes in, Warwick breaks them out. Warwick sees Jinx, and Jinx is like, oh my god, that's Vander, that's my dad. And Warwick doesn't kill Jinx, and Warwick just like goes and like leaves. And then you kind of like start the idea in Act 2 of like, oh, we gotta go find Warwick, we gotta go find Vander, because my dad is alive, we gotta go find him. And that's fun, but that takes up all of Act 2, and we get nothing on like any of these 5 characters until like the end of Episode 5, where Jace comes back, murders a man, and then goes to look for Victor, which I was really excited about because I was like, oh, Jace is back and he murdered a man. I'm actually hype here. Like, amazing. It was great. But like, it felt like Act 2, Episodes 4 and Episode 5 were just like echoes of Season 1. Because it was trying to be like, hey, we're in Jinx, we're in Vi, we're in this like this sister relationship that kind of is dead. I guess in a way it's kind of like an epilogue or like a soliloquy for their relationship. Because it is kind of them like putting everything down. Like there's even like where they find the note that Vander had written for Silco that Silco never read. And I kind of like that in a way. Okay, maybe on like revisiting it, Act 2 isn't that bad because it's basically just a send off for Act 1. And if you think of it that way, it's okay. But then they go to Victor's commune, and then things get a little bit weird. Next show will be about Noxus, and I'm excited because it's the most interesting region. Is that confirmed? If so, do you know what they're gonna focus on? Are they gonna focus on? I guess if they want to continue directly off Arcane, the end of Arcane has Mel holding Ambessa's mask on the fleet back to Noxus, so they can use Mel as like your connecting point. But then from there, I don't know what you could do. You have like what my mind immediately went to Draven and Darius. There's probably Swain. Oh god, hold on. Swain is Noxus, right? Okay, Swain has to carry the Noxus show. Swain is basically Silco. I'm gonna be real. I thought for a little bit, I thought Silco was Swain when I was watching Arcane season 1. It wasn't until like a little bit, until like episode 2 or 3 that I was like, oh wait, no, that's a different guy. That's not Swain. But I was really hoping that. Oh my god. So you get Vi is kind of passive, Jinx is kind of passive because their story's almost done, but they keep getting brought back. Kate's a fascist, but not really. Isha is like here to like stoke the fires between Jinx and Vi, but like their story, again, it feels like their story is done, and it feels weird that they keep getting brought up. Because if I can go into this, do we want to start with a heavy hitter, or do we want to go like with the not as heavy hitter? Because I thought Mel was interesting, but Mel felt extra. Black Rose. Oh, that's right. She is Noxus. Ionian Invasion, where they invade Ionia, I assume. Katarina family. Okay. Use introduced Demacia. Wait, that's true, actually. Demacia was not introduced in Arcane, which is a bit surprising. Or Ionia. Both of those, I was a little bit surprised that they didn't, like... I don't even know if they got mentioned. I think they might have gotten mentioned, but I was surprised that, like, there wasn't a little bit more of that. Which I think was nice because it made it made the world seem smaller, which is kind of nice. Instead of like exploding and like big banging your show. When I say big banging, of course I mean the fact that like the Big Bang is like it's really small and then it expands outward very greatly like that. Possibly cameo. Oh, when they're like doing Hexate stuff, or when was that? Indirect reference. I assume it was like with the paint and with the one girl that was giving the paint to the one crippled council member, right? That felt like it would have been an Ionian reference. I honestly thought when the Noxus guys showed up, they looked like Zed, so I thought they were Ionians when they showed up, which I think that was in season 1 when Ambessa shows up with them. I thought that was it. Oh shoot! I didn't know that one. I probably should have known that one. They probably said it in the show, but it was probably like a hand wave kind of a thing. Or just something where it wasn't like super duper important, because like they never like bring it up. It's not like an important, like, it's a fact about them, but it's not like integral to her character. Covered Vest 2 in season 2 episode 1. Covered vests. When at the funeral? Or when they're smuggling stuff. Maybe when they're smuggling stuff, I'd have to guess. Okay. So, this story feels like it should be over. Season 1 kind of like wrapped it up. They're kind of like doing an autopsy on it, or they're doing a, like, wrapping up in season 2, right? Terrorist attack, that's it. So these two are wrapping up. Kate should be a fascist, but is not. Isha is with that. Savika... I want to go back to Savika in a second. Because Savika got utterly, like, shafted, which is... Hold on. How do I... There are so many things I want to do. I didn't format my thoughts in a conducive way. I didn't, like, make a like, syllabi or anything for this. Because, like... How do I want to... Hold on. We have 3 acts in Season 2. We're fully into Season 2 right now. We have Act 1, we have Act 2, and we have Act 3. Act 1... Like, the reason that I don't like Act 2, generally speaking, is that I think it ruins a lot of stuff that Act 1 set up. And then each of... It feels like... You know what this feels like? This is gonna be... I don't know if I fully agree with this, but I think it's the quickest way that I can explain why I don't like Season 2, in a way. I don't like it as much. It feels like the new Star Wars trilogy. Because it feels like each of these set up things that the next act didn't really do. You know what I mean? I think that's the most succinct way I can think to describe my thoughts on Season 2, is that Act 1 set up, war between Piltover and Zaun, set up Caitlyn being a fascist, set up, oh god, what else? Let me look at the other things that we have here. It's kind of setting up the wolf, which that's fine, like that's not a big thing in it. But the main things are like it's setting up like the fascist ideals of Caitlyn, and it's setting up like the war between Piltover. That's the biggest thing, I think. War between Piltover and Zaun. Also, if I'm not mistaken, is episode 3, the end of it, where where Jinx and Savika have their like fight, where like no, that's in episode 2. Episode 2, season 2, episode 2. Jinx is ambushed by Smeech, a little nobody called Smeech, and Savika shows up. Jinx gives Savika her new arm, and they fight. And it's so satisfying because, to me, I thought what Act 1 was going to set up was a war between Piltover and Zaun, where you have the Council with a fascist Caitlyn and an Ambessa really pulling the strings behind her. And then you have Savika and Jinx with, like... I wanted Jinx to be the new Silco. I think that's kind of where my head is at right now, is that there's a beautiful scene, an absolutely gorgeous scene in, I want to say, I think it's in episode 2. I think that's also in episode 2, where Savika and Jinx are in Silco's office. And they're both just sitting there and they're kind of commiserating. They're just kind of like talking like how things were different when Silco was around and how they kind of miss him, but they can't just be like that. They need to like go and do their own things. They need to like be their own people, right? Where there was so much understanding between Savika and Jinx, and it felt like either Savika or Jinx would take on the role of Silco, or you know, they would basically be like, I am not Silco, I wanted it to be like Simone the Digger, right? I wanted one of those two. I wanted Jinx, honestly, to be like, I am not Silco, I am not my father. My name is Jinx, and my drill will pierce the heavens, or something like that, right? I wanted that, where it's like, I wanted them both to be like, hey, Silco was an important character to me, but now I'm gonna like go off and do my own thing. Amazing scene, great scene. And you had I so thought that Act 2 should have been Savika and Jinx with Isha alongside, doing the Zaun stuff and trying to like rally against and fight against the fascist regime of Piltover, of Caitlyn and Ambessa, and I wanted that, and I like Warwick, but I think he ruined it because then instead of being about like them fighting the fascists, it was about, hey, we gotta go save our dad, which in and of itself, fine, that's great, but it felt like it swerved. Like, Act 1 set up so many things, and Act 2 was instead like, you know what, let's swerve and let's do something else instead. That's why I'm not like, Act 2 in and of itself works, but Act 2, because it's part of a larger thing, doesn't work. Which actually is kind of why, that's kind of fitting to my Star Wars analogy, where I don't think like, if this is The Force Awakens, this is The Last Jedi, and this is, I don't know, what was the last one called? The one where the Emperor comes back, that one. In a similar way, I don't think I hated The Last Jedi. I was just confused by it. Because it felt like it just did things, it just was different than the one before it for no reason, and then here they were like, hold on, we need to go another different way, we need to overcorrect again. That's why I feel like that Star Wars one is a really succinct analogy if you have the same thoughts on Star Wars that I do. There are many imperfections, but it's still good and very beautiful. Music goes ultra. Yes, I need to stress this, by the way. Any complaints I'm having are mostly on the story, the plot, and the characterization. The music, I have thoughts on, like, I think they overuse music a lot. Which is really funny because episode 7 of season 2 is, I think, my favorite episode in season 2, and it has the most music, but it worked. So, you know what? Hats off to you. I think the music itself is good. I think they overuse it in some cases, but like the animation, absolutely incredible. I am like legitimately like impressed with how good it looks. Because I'm gonna be real, before I watched it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like the animation style, but by the end of the first episode, I was like, oh, no, I love it. It's great. It does a really good way of being animated in a very unique and interesting way. And like the way that like I noticed in the episode I watched today, the final episode, there's a scene where it's shot from the inside of like a armored troop transport, where the door opens up and the door hits the ground, and that's all 3D. But when the door hits the ground, it makes a puff of smoke, and the smoke is animated in 2D. So the stylization that they use is very impressive, and it's very nice. So yeah, like, everything I have is mostly on, like, the plot and the writing. Like, I think it's legitimately it's a very good looking show. I think the music's great. Heimerdinger is my favorite musician in the show, by the way. Like, Heimer's music bit was I think my favorite music bit out of both seasons. Because I don't know, like, Heimer's music kind of like touched my heart. It was kind of cute. I kind of loved it. I think because I was already like so enthralled by episode 7 that when Heimerdinger started singing, like I also knew as soon as he started singing, I was like, that's Heimerdinger, isn't it? And then it just like cut to like a beautiful, but that was like the best use of music too. It was like a great time lapse where it had Jace, and I don't know why Jace was in there. I have another thing to talk about there, but no, like it was so beautifully done. It was just like it showed a great progression of time while they're in there, and it had feelings that weren't directly like in the song, and it like it just works so well. It works so damn well. Echo's Dance was cute. I was really happy because when the subtitle said rapping in French, I was like, what? But it worked. It was kind of nice. I kind of liked it. Also, I was told it's like top 10 most listened song on Spotify. It was a good song. I liked it. I was also told, I didn't notice it, I just thought it was a stylistic choice, that like it's very choppy. Someone that I was talking to the other day was like, they didn't like that it was choppy, and they had looked online and it was like, it's animated like 4 frames per second because Echo can teleport back for 4 seconds in like 4 seconds, right? So that's why it was animated 4 frames per second. I didn't notice it. I didn't think that hard. I was just like, oh, they just animated it differently. That's fun. That's cool. It's like a strobe light effect. Oh, that was cute. I liked it. I know qualms. Again, I think episode 7 was the best episode. I also don't think that Chase should have been episode 7, but that's a different story. Or episode 7 should have not come at episode 7. It should have come earlier. So we're meandering. My thoughts are very erratic, as you might have noticed. But I think at this point we talked about season 1. We talked about these guys, and we talked about like the things that Act 1 set up, right? I wanna now, and we talked about Savika. That was like a big one that I kind of want to talk to, where like Savika feels like she should have been a bigger character. She literally like is such an important character in Act 1 to Jinx, I think. And then she just kind of disappears from the show because she's not important. And then I noticed her appear in episode 9 as part of the army that was attacking the tower, and she didn't have a line, and she just got mind controlled. And then I don't think she had a line, and then she ended up on the council. Justice for Savika. She deserves so much more. But okay, let's dive into real quick. Mel and LeBlanc, they're just kind of there. I feel like that was just set up for the Noxus stuff. Mel was a fun character. Her thing is kind of cool. I don't think she's that important. I might have more opinions on her, but I want to talk about my boys now. I want to talk about Jason Victor and why the entire series should have been about them, and why I think that the decisions between episodes 5, 6, and 7 and episodes 8 and 9, why they're bad. Gotta sleep? It's okay, Gabriel. If you have to sleep, by all means. I know, it's unfortunate that Brazil does not experience time change. I fully understand. Feel free to head out if you need to. You will always have the VOD to go back to. As I tap this whiteboard, meanderingly. Okay, so these two should have been the main characters. Have a good night. Have a good night, Gabriel. These two should have been the main characters of season 2. Jason Victor should have been the main characters of season 2. Because again, season 1, it was about Vi, Kate, and Jinx. They were the A plot. Jason Victor were the B plot. Fine. Should have been switch swapped. What's up, Gabriel? What do you got? Stream start earlier tomorrow? It's starting at 4, which is 2 hours after the normal stream time on Sunday, right? It's not like an 8 o'clock stream. It's like, that'd be like 7 for you, I think, because you're 3 hours ahead right now. It's like midnight for you now. It starts at 7 your time. Wait, you're 3 hours ahead? God damn. I don't think it will start earlier than that. Mostly because I put it on the schedule. I gave myself, I didn't want to start at the normal like Sunday time because I wanted to like give myself more time to like also do things and not just have the entire thing eaten up by the Factorio Marathon. So I need to like go and like, you know, get food and stuff like that. So unfortunately, but yeah, that's it. Have a good night, Gabriel. All right. Jason and Victor should have been the main characters, and here's why. At the very beginning of Act 1, you have a little bit of Jason, you have a little bit of Victor, and the council chamber's been destroyed. Jace is still alive. Victor is dying. Jace takes a dying Victor to the Hex Core, and the Hex Core fuses with Victor. At that point, Victor then leaves the story. Well, hold on. At that point, you kind of like, they're in like a cocoon. Victor is in a literal cocoon, and Jace is in like a metaphorical cocoon. Victor is in a cocoon for a bit. He eventually wakes up from that cocoon and walks down into to Zaun, where he is Jesus, and then he disappears for episodes like, when does he do his Jesus thing? Is that at the end of episode 1 or episode 2? Control F Victor. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of Victors. Pillar Victor. Pillar Victor awakens from his coma. And realizing that Jace broke his promise, parts ways with him. He returns to Zaun, where he inspires a cult-like following after healing Huck, a Shimmer addict, with his newfound powers. So, in episode 2 of Act 1, Victor just leaves. And we don't see him again until episode 6. He's gone for episodes 3, 4, and 5, and he shows up at the end of episodes, and he shows up at episode 6, which is a long time for him to be gone. At the same time, Jace is mostly like, during this time, like, you've Jace and Victor are like, they're dying here. Heals Victor, keeps going. Jace is still kind of like not doing a lot. Around this point, between episodes 2 and 3, Echo and Heimerdinger, these two little guys over here, they together, because they want to like find out what's wrong with the tree, because at the end of season 1, Heimerdinger went to go live with Echo because they're in the tree with the Fireflies, which I think the Fireflies are underutilized. I think Echo is underutilized, which means in a way Heimerdinger is also underutilized, which feels weird to say, but Echo and Heimer just kind of like show up in their own plot, like they were doing their own thing, and they're like, hey, our tree looks weird. We want to go see what that's about, so we're gonna go like go check out Jace. Effectively, they wanted to just go into the place where Jace was, but they ended up running into Jace, and so that kind of intersects their plot points. And so in episode 2-3, you have like, they realize that the reason Echo's tree is dying is because of the Arcane and like wild runes or something. And so Jace, Echo, and Heimer, at the end of episode 3, they go to check out the Hex Gates, because the Hex Gates are like leaching into the soil of the tree, and that's what's causing the tree to have like the weird experiment, and they're concerned about that. And they go to the Hex Gate, and then they just disappear. And Jace is gone for episode 4, and he shows up at the very end of episode 5. And Echo and Heimer are gone until episode 7. So again, 4 episode difference where you just don't see them. And Jace is a really interesting one, because Jace is basically only gone for 1 episode, right? He's only gone for episode 4. But he shows up at the end of episode 5, so you can argue that he's gone for 2 episodes. But the thing is, when he shows up at the end of episode 5, he's a distinctly changed man. Because at the end of episode 3, when Jace, Echo, and Heimer go into the Hex Gate, they just disappear. Like, they just go through space and time, and they just disappear. And you don't know if they're dead. You know, like, if they're like going through eons of pain and suffering. You don't know what's going on at all, right? Cut to end of episode 5. Jace just appears out of nowhere at the Hex Gate again, and he's visibly shaggier. He looks harrowed, and I think his hammer's not even right. Like, he's just like, oh god, I lived through hell, effectively, which, as you find out, is what happened. But you don't know that. He just shows up. One of Victor's servants, one of his subjects, I guess you could say, one of Victor's people shows up at the Hex Gate. Victor and Jace get to talk, so I guess you do get to see Victor at the end of episode 5 as well. So I guess they're both there. And Jace just murders him. And that just comes out of nowhere, and I was extremely hyped. I even, where's my thing? I said in the Discord, verbatim, Jace just murdered that man. Holy moly, we are so back. What's up, Harmonica? Welcome on in. Welcome back. Harmonica, you're getting spoiled. What are you talking about? Do you mean it's time for Ulupu to come into Arknights Global? Okay, perfect. Then you won't know what I'm talking about then. Perfect. But where was I? Oh, so clearly when Jace comes back, he's harrowed, and he just like destroys one of Victor's followers, and you're like, why did he do that? Cut to episode 6. A lot of episode 6 is about, you know, Caitlyn and Vi and Jinx still. When I'm more interested in why is Jace, you know, going insane. Like, episode 6 is actually really nice, because actually, outside of those 3, it also does a lot of Victor. Episode 6 is a lot of Victor fan service, because Victor's my guy. I'm like a big fan of Victor, and honestly, Victor doesn't feel like a villain until the very last episode, and that feels wrong, because he feels like he should be a villain, but he's not really, but he's kind of a villain. Because, like, it feels like there's no, they didn't, Silco was a villain. Silco was a defined antagonist in season 1 that you could point to and be like, hey, I like him, but he's clearly like the one that we're supposed to be fighting. He's the antagonist of the story. Season 2, like, Ambessa is arguably the antagonist. But at the same time, she's not doing as much. And compared to what happens at the end where it's Victor and Jace and Ambessa's kind of an afterthought, she doesn't feel like she's the big bad. She just feels like she is a bad. Like, it feels like it's rudderless. It's rudderless, which if the point was to be rudderless, then the Savika Jinx arc would have hit so much harder, right? But they didn't do that. So I can eat dinner and start the show. BRB maybe? Adios, Asmodian. Enjoy your dinner. Okay, so episode 5, Jace comes back, murders a man. Episode 6, you see Victor in a goddamn commune. He's living it up. Everyone looks happy and healthy, even if they have like chrome augmentations on him. And you're like, wow. I don't know why Jace doesn't like Victor. Victor seems like he's doing good. And obviously you can go along the lines of like, oh, human augmentation is not good. Maybe the show wants to use that as a thesis, as a point of being, but like, we don't know that. All we know is that Jace wants to kill Victor now. And it feels bad, because at this point, I like Victor, and I've seen Jace murder a man, which I'm excited about, but that means to me that Jace is now the villain, and Victor is a good guy, because Victor's made a goddamn commune, and it's like, do you want me to not like Victor anymore? Because you're doing a bad job of it. And Jace goes and kills Victor, and now it's like, so I don't like Jace now, right? Like, Jace is the bad guy, because Jace just killed Victor for no reason whatsoever. And it feels so weird and confused, and I was kind of okay with it. And then episode 7 came, where you see what happened to Jace, to Echo, and to Heimerdinger. And Echo and Heimerdinger, fantastic story. I absolutely loved it. It was an adorable little story where Echo and Heimerdinger ended up in a parallel reality where Vi had died in episode 1 of Arcane. Powder was alive. Echo and everyone else is fine. Vander's still fine. Echo's mentor is fine. And it's a completely alternate reality that Echo and Heimer end up in. And it's about Echo like trying to get back to his home dimension using little fragments of the arcane like hex magic stuff that they had, which is great because it's about Echo like trying to like, you know, do I want to stay in this timeline where everything is objectively better, where we're not at war, where there's not like some fascist stuff going on. Everything feels so much nicer in this, but Echo's like, no, I have to go back because people need me in my timeline. Which is great. It's a very standard age-old time, age-old like scenario, but it works so well. Meanwhile, at the same time, they also decided to show you Jace, which you just saw Jace in episode 5, Murder a Man, and in episode 6 you saw him murder a man, and now it's showing you what happened to Jace, as if to like say, hey, Jace might have murdered some people, but he was doing it because he saw some bad stuff in hell. Because that's effectively where he ended up. Jace didn't end up in the parallel universe with Echo and Heimer. Instead, Jace ended up in a world where Hextech technology and the Arcane have gotten so advanced and so spread out and widespread that there is no longer humanity. There are just like robotic dolls, and they are not like alive, they're not breathing, they're not living. They have no hopes, they have no dreams, they have no passions. They are just there. And Jace is alone and like in the dark and cold, and he's kind of scared. There are literally scenes where he's like huddled around a campfire trying to get warmth. Like, he is going through it. And it feels like it's I don't know what the show wants me to feel there. Is it trying to justify Jace murdering people? Because that's what it feels like. And honestly, you don't need to justify him murdering people. And if you do, I don't know, he still just looks bad. Like, I can't. They knew what they wanted to do with Jace, and they knew that they wanted Jace to kill someone. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It's like a mystery box, right? What's up, Kiwi? Happy Thursday, welcome in. Happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate. We're going through Arcane right now, and we're going through why I think Victor and Jace should have been the focal point of season 2, and why that made it a little bit weaker. And again, Jace isn't really doing a lot here. He disappears. He shows up, he murders a man, while still being crazy, murders a man. And then we see in episode 7 why he murdered those men. And it feels like the show is like yeah, he murdered those people. Look how bad the world was. And it really didn't it didn't do anything to me, because Jace was still a murderer. Jace still murdered Victor. And then in episode 8 and episode 9, Jace is a good guy, I guess? Because now Victor's a bad guy, I guess? I don't know why. Why did they do that? It felt like I was rooting for Victor the entire time, because Victor was just off being literally Jesus, running a commune, and like healing the sick and poor. And Jace came and murdered him because Jace saw that Hextech was gonna do a bad. And then Victor's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna work with Ambessa now for some reason. And Jace is like, yeah, I'm gonna work with Kate again for some reason. I guess because Victor was working with Ambessa, Jace had to work with Caitlyn and with Piltover, which makes sense. But I don't know why. It feels wrong. It just feels like I don't know why they did that. And I guess it's because Victor was like, man, I'm shunned. I have been shunned by a society. So now I will now turn on society? Like, I get it. Like, because Jace killed Victor then, like, it's Mousetrap. It's like, these things only happen because these things need to happen, is what it feels like. Which makes no sense to me. So, you have Victor running a happy commune. He gets killed by Jace. And then he pulls himself back together and he's like, hold on. My best friend Jace just tried to kill me. These human emotions are a mess. I will now forsake all of humanity. And I will use these hex cores to basically wipe all emotion from everyone, and so everyone can be like a plain doll like me. And that's like his villain arc, which feels very like fast and loose, and he's just like yeah, emotions are ruining things. Which feels so rushed. Like it's like it doesn't. He did say the thing. He did say Glorious Evolution. It's so. I like it, but it's rushed. It's just rushed is kind of what it's like, right? Hold on, where are my notes? I want to actually read, because we're in episode 8 and 9 now. I want to actually look at parts of my notes. I like it when Victor's robot, like, Victor got his robot voice because he was like a void creature, or like, not a void, he's an arcane creature, and he's like speaking through a lot of people. So he gets like his actual like robot voice where he's like, Glorious Evolution, where he's like talking through like a speaker effectively. That was really cool. I actually liked the justification for that one. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at my notes. I'm glad I did. So what happens is Jace kills Victor, and okay, no, wait, this is even more insane. So Victor's running a commune. Victor is arguably a good guy. Jace just goes and murders Victor. Jace is arguably a bad guy, right? To me, that's what happens. And then episode 7, I guess, is supposed to be like, no, Victor's actually gonna be a bad guy, and Jace was the good guy for murdering him. But it didn't convince me. So to me, it was still that Jace is a bad guy and Victor's a good guy. So then in episode 8, when Victor sides with Ambessa, I get very conflicted because I'm like, I like Victor. Why is he siding with the bad people? And I don't like Jace. Why is he siding with the good people? That's a questionable whether or not he's good people. But like, there's a point where then Jace and Mel are talking, and one of Victor's robots attacks them because Victor wants to talk to Jace and be like, hey, I want to use the Hex Gates and I want to evolve humanity. Obviously, that is a bad thing. After that, Jace then goes and tells a council of people, which I have this written down. There's a council of people, like the Merchants Guild or whatever, of Piltover, that are like murmuring softly. Jace comes in and says quiet, which made me audibly laugh because he was like, everyone's talking like very quietly, and Jace just comes in and says quiet, which I get, but it made me laugh because they were already pretty quiet. But then Jace was like, hundreds of more Victor bots are on their way. Like, hundreds of these things are coming. And I also said audibly, how does Jace know hundreds more Victor bots are on their way? Where did he get that? Where did he come to that conclusion? Did he read the script? Like, why does Jace know that Victor's gonna, like, obviously Victor wants the Hex Gate, sure. How does Jace know that Victor's gonna make a lot more robots to like storm the Hex Gate with? Why is Jace, it feels like they swapped sides. Like someone did a change of heart on Victor and Jace, and like Jace is now the good guy, Victor's now the bad guy, but I didn't get that memo, so it was just very confusing and conflicting that entire time. What else do we have in my notes? Yeah, I think season 2 is weaker because the big bads aren't set up and shown more often. Cause like the Black Rose is apparently, I don't know if the Black Rose is a big bad. They just showed up, they took Mel at one point. Then they gave Mel magic powers. And then they showed up at the end to kill Ambessa, but then they died to Mel instead. So I don't care about the Black Rose if she was supposed to be a big bad. Victor arguably is the final big bad, because he's the one that is like Ultroning things at the end. But I liked Victor, and Victor was a hero up until Act 3, where he just became a villain for no reason. So that big bad wasn't set up. Ambessa is the closest to having like a setup big bad, right? But Ambessa doesn't, she kind of does. Ambessa's the closest. Ambessa's like the closest. But it feels weird, it feels weak. What's up, Suibun? Happy Thursday, Organa. Happy Thanksgiving. We're going over an autopsy of season 2 of Arcane right now, Suibun. And right now I'm saying that Jace and Victor should have been more integral to the plot of season 2, and they weren't, and the fact that they weren't made it so their plot near the end got extremely rushed, because all of their plot happened in like episodes 6 through 9, when I wish it happened episodes 1 through 9. Because like they had to like go and like do a little Vander Warwick arc in the middle of Act 2, and they just kind of like shoved in Victor doing Glorious Evolution at the very end of Act 2, at the very beginning of Act 3, at the very end of the season, which felt, again, very rushed. Ooh. Also, they didn't actually do this necessarily. I was kind of happy with this one. But one of the things that I wasn't happy about when I realized they were gonna turn Victor into the big bad in like episode 8, when Victor's like, no, I'm gonna do a bad thing now. I wrote this in my notes where I said, I don't like that. I really, really like Victor, but I don't like that they're going to use him to make a lot of easily disposable bodies that the good guys can take down without fear of killing real people. And I'm glad they didn't actually do that. A lot of the fighting in episode 9 was against the Noxians, was against like actual people and like the Noxian like Shimmer guys. And like when the Victor bot showed up, they just kind of won. I was actually extremely happy with that. That it wasn't like everyone was like gunning down like the Victor bots and like some kind of like like some kind of just poorly designed like they're easy cannon fodder to show how tough our good guys are. It wasn't like Vi was like destroying a lot of Victor bots and Caitlyn was like sniping them all. No, Caitlyn was sniping Ambessa and Ambessa was using runes to like hold her off. Vi was like holding a door back and then like punching Warwick, and like I actually was really happy with the fight scene in episode 9. That was like legitimately impressive that they didn't actually go down the route of making like Victor's bots easily disposable like cannon fodder guys. Also, I'm sad that they got rid of Skye. She was my favorite, but I guess that's Victor doing his glorious evolution. That's Victor literally relinquishing his humanity, where Skye is like keeping Victor grounded, right? And by releasing Skye, he releases his humanity and he becomes the Victor that we all know and love, where he's just full on glorious evolutioning. I kind of like, now that I'm reading this one back, I kind of get a little bit more why, like how Victor is the bad guy. I just don't like that he is the bad guy because it doesn't feel earned. It feels very fast that he's like, you know what, I got shot, I'm gonna give him my humanity, I'm gonna be a bad guy now. It just doesn't feel right. Okay, so let's get to episode 9. I just watched it 2 hours ago. And that's kind of like where like all the threads come together, right? You have let's see. You have Echo, first and foremost. You literally have to tie up outside of Isha. Isha's dead. Let's use orange now. Isha's dead. Heimer's dead. This is Jace, Victor. Mel is fine. Echo. You have to tie up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have to tie up 12 whole plot lines in 50 minutes. They gave it a long time that's like roughly 10 minutes longer than the average runtime, which was kind of nice. But it was still a lot of plot points to like tie up. And it felt like they used because there were so many plot points, you didn't really get to sit on a scene that much, which was a big weakness of it. Because you'll like in the general fighting, like at the very beginning when it's just like the people of Piltover fighting the Noxians, that was very good. But then when it started getting to like you had to have like the Jason Victor scenes, so it had to like cut away to that, or like it started slow. And then it added the Jason Victor scenes, and it added that Vi, Jinx, and Warwick were fighting their own battle, and then Kate, Mel, and Ambessa were fighting their own battle. So you had 3 different fights that it had to like go between to try to balance. And it felt like because it did that, none of them got the right amount of time to really like, for you to really like sit with them. Kate, Mel, Ambessa was a fun fight. It felt a little bit. It felt weird in a way where there was an earlier fight between Kate and Ambessa where Ambessa just beats Kate, and it felt like, you know, it's supposed to be a rematch of that. But obviously then Mel is there, which makes it a 2v1, which feels unearned? Because clearly Mel also should fight Ambessa because that's mother-daughter. And in a way, I think the show wanted to go for a you know, you're stronger together kind of a storyline. But have Kate and Mel exchanged a lot of dialogue in season 2? Because I don't think they have, and I could be wrong on that, but like it feels like it should be Caitlyn and Mel teaming up versus Ambessa, but it doesn't feel earned, and it doesn't feel like that was the point. Like they both want to take down Ambessa for different reasons, but it felt like obviously neither of them could take it down on their own. They had to like work together to take down Ambessa, but it didn't feel like that was an earned point, right? It was a Mayu. Happy Thursday, welcome on in. Now resume being in bed. Enjoy your bed, Mayu. As I ramble about Arcane. They take down Ambessa. Which, yeah, like, Caitlyn taking down Ambessa, powerful. Mel taking down Ambessa, also powerful. They have to do it together, like, teamwork. But I wish there was more time for Kate and Mel to, like, grow together? Or like, it feels like it should have been, like, Kate fighting Ambessa, and then Mel coming in halfway through and being like, you can't take her down alone, we have to work together. But that's not exactly what happens. Because it really was like Mel and Ambessa were about to fight, and then Caitlyn interrupts them and says, now we're gonna start fighting. And it's just like, it feels like it's too rushed. It feels like we're missing like a scene with Kate and Mel talking to each other about how bad Ambessa is, and how only together they can like defeat her. And then it needed a scene of either Kate or Mel losing to Ambessa originally, and then like in that fight specifically, one of them losing to her in that fight, and then the other one coming in to save them and being like, together we are strong, right? Apes together strong. I want an apes together strong moment, and I didn't get it. Vi, Jinx, and Warwick, that felt like I didn't care about Vi, Jinx, and Warwick in Act 3. Again, it felt like Act 2. We go back to Act 2 down here. I was talking about like how, yeah, the Vi Jinx stuff really ended in Act 1. Jinx decided like literally at the end of Act 1 and episode 9 of season 1, excuse me. Season 1 episode 9, that's literally the entire point of season 1 episode 9 is that Jinx gets to choose, do I want to be Jinx or do I want to be Powder? Do I want to side with Silk or do I want to side with Vi? Right? Like that's the entire point of the episode. And at the end, Jinx chooses to be Jinx. Jinx sits in the Jinx chair. And I think that might be why I'm a little, like, the fact that they're, like, bringing, like, this Kate, Vi, Jinx thing back in there and, like, no, Jinx, you really are Powder. It feels like it's diminishing the impact of Season 1. And so when you have Vi, Jinx, and Warwick, Vander, like, it feels like it's regressing on the plot of Season 1 to, like, be like, no, Jinx, maybe you are Powder. You are still just Vander's little girl. And that feels disingenuous to Jinx. Where I guess in the end, Jinx does, like, realize, like, no, I am my own person. Echo has to, like, make Jinx not, like, die with, like, by, like, exploding. I don't know. This was definitely... Vi, Jinx, Warwick was definitely the weakest thing. Because, yeah, thinking about it more, it definitely feels like it goes back on, like, what season 1 had set up about like Jinx is Jinx and that's who she is, and giving her like this self-doubt that she didn't need. Wasn't a fan of that one. So Kate, Mel, and Ambessa, their fight could have been a little bit better. Vi, Jinx, Warwick, did not care about it at all. Jace, Victor, this is what it should have been about, right? The entire season should have been about this. And then you have Echo, you have Deus Echo Machina. Like these three were my favorite part in the show. Hold on, let's go to green. Jace, Victor, and Echo was like easily the best part of the show to me. And Echo feels like he doesn't belong with Jace and Victor either. But I was okay with it because he had a fun episode. Where, like, the entire struggle at the end of episode 9, you have Ambessa fighting these people, you have Warwick fighting these people, and you have Victor fighting these people. Warwick, again, doesn't feel like that should be a thing at all. Ambessa feels like it's okay, it's missing some things. But obviously the biggest stake there is, like, Warwick versus Vi and Jinx. That's a very low stakes thing. That's basically a family fighting. Ambessa fighting Kate and Mel. That's like, you're talking on like the scale of like nations, right? So you go from families to nations, like your scale of how important these fights are differs. Family fight between Vi, Jinx, and Warwick. Nation fight between like effectively Noxus and Piltover. or Noxus and like the twin cities of Piltover and Zaun, if you want to think about it that way as well, but it's really Piltover. Which is, again, why Savika got shafted. Savika was also in here. If Savika was fighting instead of Mel, and you had like Caitlyn and Savika fighting instead, then it's like, oh, Piltover and Zaun working together to fight off Noxus. Could have been cool. But that's like the scale of nations. And then like, obviously, Jace and Victor on the scale of the cosmos? So your scale of like how important these fights are is very, very skewed. And if you're fighting on the scale of Cosmos, I feel like that's the one that should be the most important, even though I personally like it when it is more smaller scale. If you're going to throw all three scales at me, I should probably care about the Cosmic one a lot more. And I did. And like, it was very fun. What do I have? What do I have here? Vanderfield's rushed. Here we go. At no point in season 2 have I been on Jace's side. I've always been on Victor's side. So having me a bad guy and Jace a good guy feels so wrong. So like, first and foremost, the fact that Jace and Victor are fighting, I want to root for Victor because even though he's Glorious Humanity, Glorious Evolution, I haven't seen him do a really, really bad thing technically. Like, if I'm being real, I've seen Jace murder 2 men. I've seen Victor make a commune. Into episode 9, I still have not seen Victor do that bad of a thing. Victor attacked Jason Mel, arguably? But if I'm gonna be real, I don't know who actually started that fight in the council room. So, to me, Victor still hasn't done anything wrong outside of siding with Ambessa, but Victor himself is not a bad guy going into episode 9. Meanwhile, Jace has murdered 2 people, and generally has been, like, very dismissive of Victor, so I'm not on Jace's side. So going into the fight, I'm already, like, in a weird spot. And until Victor actually wins the fight and starts mind-controlling people, I'm still on Victor's side. And once he starts mind-controlling people, then I'm like, oh, I don't like Victor anymore. Victor's finally doing a bad thing halfway into the final episode of Season 2. So now I care about him. And then you have to have Deus Echo Machina show up. Which I actually liked. I liked a lot. I especially like the fact that Echo's flying in. He gets knocked down. He uses his time reversal to go back 4 seconds. Dodge is getting knocked down. Swings in for another round. Gets captured. Pulls back time. But when he pulls back time, he's still captured. He does it like twice, I think. Which was very satisfying. The idea that he can't get out of every situation with his 4-second time was like, oh, that's fun. That had like stakes. And then he just like upped the time vortex to go back further. Goofy, but for the sake of the show, sure, that's fine. Did that, then just chucked it at Victor, his little time arcane hex core thing, and Victor knew what it was, or Victor was like, what do I have written down? I even say when Victor started mind controlling people, I wrote a note which says, okay, like now I get that Victor is the bad guy, but too little too late, question mark? Echo might be the best character and he's barely in the show. I like that Echo got into a fail loop. Then I said never mind because he immediately got out of the fail loop. Oh yeah, it was Victor. Echo threw the device at Victor and Victor said, "This cannot be." And I was like, how do you know what that is? How do you know what's gonna happen here, Victor? That one felt weird. Ooh. For me, the Victor commune had these cultish vibes from the get-go. I myself as a major red flag. So the feeling that Jace had good reason for trying to kill Victor. That is true. That is very true, is that I can definitely see it as very cultish and very hive-mindy, but I don't think the show did enough, for me at least, to really like show that as a bad thing, which I guess in a way it doesn't need to, right? Like just showing that theoretically should be enough to be like, hey, this is a bad thing, but I didn't know like what the show wanted out of me. And so when I saw the cult, and I was like, oh, the cult seems pretty nice, I was kind of fine with it. I kind of wish there was more. That again, this is why I kind of wish that there was more about Jason Victor in season 2, where like maybe you got to see more of them being like a cult and be more of a hive mind. Like maybe if they were able to get Warwick to him like an episode sooner, and then like Warwick gets freed from Singe's control, but something else happens where now, instead of being Vander, he's now like part of, he's like a son of Victor now, and he's trying to convince Kate and Vi, or no, Jinx and Vi to like give up the things you do. Come and live in this commune with me. You don't have to, like, don't worry about being passionate. Don't worry about your dreams and ideals. Come and live in this commune. I would have liked that. I wish there was more to like flesh out some more of the more culty vibes. That would have been fun. So like, definitely there were definitely cult vibes, but to me, I don't know if you've ever played. I don't know if anyone has ever played a game called, oh shoot, what is it called? What is it called? We played it on stream earlier this year, and you know what, Jason? You know what the Victor's commune actually reminded me of? There's a game called, I'm loading up Steam right now to look for it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. Citizen Sleeper. We played it on stream earlier this year. It was Citizen Sleeper. In Citizen Sleeper, you are a robot with a human's mind who wakes up on a space station and has to just survive on that space station and not get dragged back to corporal lifestyle, effectively. And about at the halfway point in the game, you get to a part of the station that is run by a commune, and that's what it gave me vibes of. Was it reminded me of Citizen Sleeper, where everyone was living on a commune, and that's the ending I got in Citizen Sleeper, where I joined the commune, and I had the opportunity to like fuse with a hive mind, and I chose no because I wanted to be my own independent person. Which, thinking about it, that would have been great. I kind of wish that there was, again, I kind of wish there was more with that, where because that's exactly what it would have been. It should have been something like if you really wanted the Victor stuff to come off as more culty, to me at the very least, there should have been more of taking one of our main characters, right? One of the main characters, and trying to have them give up their humanity, and like you can join us, but you have to like give up your desire, your want, your feelings, your emotions, the things that make you human, to become part of this, and them being, you know, like give that to Vi. Because Vi is so emotional, and Vi is so like headstrong, and like having her get that decision, but then being able to like brush it away and be like, no, the emotions are what make me me. Would have been a great moment for her if they wanted to give her like more things to do in season 2. Like, that would have been great. Because those are my kind of like favorite characters, the characters that are like get asked to like give up their humanity, but realize like, no, I like being human. I like having emotions and feelings, even if it doesn't always rock, right? There are bad emotions that kind of suck, but we need those because they make us who we are. That kind of like writing is very cliche, but it hits my heart because those are my favorite characters. Dumbass humans. We need more dumbass humans in the show. And Vi had to like take a backseat for a little bit. And I wanted Vi to be, I needed her to be more. I needed her to be a little bit more belligerent. What's up, Amina? Happy Thursday, welcome in. We love dumbasses here. Spoken by the head dumbass himself. It's what I aspire to. Unironically, I want to be a dumbass human. And I am, and it's great. What? What did I do? They spoil you or something? Oh my god, no. Okay. Ooh. I would, first and foremost, I would never call you guys that. My god. Sorry, Almina, I'm sorry you thought that. Jesus. You know I would never call you guys names. It's not how we do it here. I would call Mbessa names though. Okay, so we're in season 2. We're in episode 9. Victor is doing a cult that I wasn't fully aware of, right? Until he goes full on cult, right? Oh, okay. Very hard to tell context through stuff, and I was very concerned that I truly upset you. So I'm glad, Almina. Out of all the characters, I can't believe Singed got the best ending. Same! I love Singed in this one. It's not fair. Actually, it is fair. I as a top laner, as a former top laner emitter, the fact that Singed and Orianna? I don't know if you were here for this one, but that was the highlight of, I think, all of Arcane, actually, that I didn't realize until the credits, effectively. Because I think they said it, Gabriel was in here earlier, was talking about how they said it in like episode 5, and you get to see like Singed's daughter like early on, probably in episode 5, where they say his name and everything like that. But I didn't notice until Orianna like was there looking at a ballerina statue, and you could see her like white skin and her yellow hair. And I wrote down, wait, is Orianna Singed's daughter? Yo, no shot, based, if true, into my notes, in all capital letters. And that's my favorite part, because Orianna was one of my favorite characters in that game, because she was so fun to play. You Q the ball somewhere, you W the ball to like do an AoE, you E the ball back to you, you can R the ball to do a thing. It was great. Yes, Warwick was also in there. Warwick was Vander. Vander got turned into Warwick by Singed in Arcane canon, which was okay, but I think that they had too many plot lines, and the Vi Jinx Warwick plotline is the weakest of the 3, and it kind of like dragged, even though on its own is decent. It's very yeah. I thought so as well, Almina, because in season 1, act 1, when Vander drinks the shimmer and then like bum rushes stuff and then dies, I thought that's when they were gonna be like, oh, he drank the shimmer, he's gonna turn into a beast, he's gonna turn into Warwick. And so I was really excited, and then he didn't do that, but then they did in season 2. I was like, okay, that's fine. He did all that bad stuff and got no repercussions, plus he got Orianna back too. It was so good. I liked it. It felt undeserved. There are so many characters that got things that they don't deserve, Suivon. We were also talking about how Caitlyn doesn't deserve anything because she went fascist, but then she just didn't go fascist. So I feel like Kate got a lot of undeserved stuff. Kate lost an eye, but she got Vi. Also Maddie, who I didn't write down here because Maddie's an incidental character. Maddie was a secret villain, I guess. Don't know what that was a. Hold on, what did I actually write? I wrote, lol, what is this Irish twist? As my in episode 9, Maddie, who was Kate's like lover between Vi and Vi, Maddie is actually a villain? That was unearned. That legitimately came out of nowhere. And like, I guess the idea is like, oh, Maddie felt like, oh, you know, Kate didn't appreciate me and Ambessa will appreciate me, but like, Maddie's not a character. I liked Maddie. I thought she was cute. She was not a character. She didn't deserve that twist. Very weird. The pocket watch, or was it faux locket? Museum was a big clue to Orianna too. It sounded like one of those spinning ballerina toys. Oh, I didn't catch that one. I don't remember what it was, but the clear connection was definitely and that's like one of the main reasons I remembered it, Suibon, was because the character was looking at the ballerina, and I was like, oh, there's a ballerina in League of Legends. That's Orianna. Orianna's like based on a ballerina. And then I looked at the girl that was looking at it closer. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So that makes sense, because yeah, one of the spinning ballerina toys is at the end, so that would make sense that like I think it was a pocket watch. That's because he like I feel like he twisted it right to make it go like. It might be a photo. It might be like a combination pocket watch, photo lock, or something like that. But it was cool. Also, at the end of season 1, we see Vander hanging in the dark with Singed with those tanks on Warwick's redesign. Oh, I've never seen his redesign, so I guess I'm gonna be real with that one. I didn't know that one. I know they've redesigned Warwick at least once, if not twice. And they've changed his lore a few times too, where I think right when they changed his design, I was told that they made him into a Sherlock Holmes? Warwick redesign, not Warwick Davis, or redesign. I'm just gonna type that one. First look at Warwick and Victor new design. This is from 3 weeks ago, so they changed it again recently. Oh, they changed it to be the Arcane one. So what's Warwick's original redesign? Ooh, that's interesting. I don't know if I like, by the way, speaking of Warwick's redesign, I don't know if I like Victor's redesign. Oh, I see his little thing on his back. Yeah, which they highlight a lot in the show, where they're going like with the cool smoke effects and everything. Okay, yeah, his design is way older, which is the thing though, is like he still has the wolf face in this one. So the fact that like in Arcane he has like the Vander face where he looks like Galileo, excuse me, is very weird. He has a very distinctly human face, which I kind of want him to be a wolf boy, so I'm a little sad about that. But I guess at some point he'll get full wolf. I don't really know. Yeah, the victory design I think is recent then. I just looked at like there's a r/lore of League where it shows like the Victor and Warwick, and I assume these are like icons that they're gonna use, but I feel like Maddie stuff came out. Yeah, like Maddie's kind of like a side character in Act 1, which is fine. She kind of like does her job and like she gives Vi like I kind of liked her in Act 1 where she like Vi is literally like drinking out of a bottle with the dude whose name I completely forgot. And Maddie like comes up to her and is like, Maddie and the fishman whose name I also forgot. Like the three of them, the three like mob, I want to call them mob policeman characters. I kind of like them because they're like, they try to get Vi. That's like, oh Vi, I've heard so much about you at the academy. And then they go fascist squad. They go stormtroopers with Vi and Caitlyn. And then like Act 2 with a small time skip. It should have been a larger time skip. I'm still upset about that one. It should have been like a 3-year time skip, but they do it like a 6-month time skip. Maddie's then dating Caitlyn, and I was like, it feels like, again, that's why it should have been a 3-month time skip, because then it'd be like, oh, Maddie and Caitlyn have been going on for a while. And that way, like, when like Vi comes back in, it's like more of like a, ooh, do I choose Maddie, who I've been with for like a few years now, or do I go back to Vi, my original love? Like, it would have been more interesting. Yeah, more hints, because Maddie just feels like a no one. Yeah, it's a bit of a cheap twist. Where she suddenly sabotaged Caitlyn. Ooh, that would have been cool. Which is why Gabriel said it earlier, and I think I also agree. It's like they had there should have been more episodes, or there should have been fewer plots. Gabriel said more episodes. I say they should have had fewer plots, because if they only had like 2 of the 3 big plots, you could have spent more time fleshing out the side characters for that plot. As it is, I guess the 3 main plots. In season 1, you had 2 plots of, you had your A plot with the girls, and you had the B plot with the boys, is how I put it. And originally I was like, these are all different plots. But if you want to get down to it, you mostly have the plots of the family of Vi, Jinx, and Warwick. You have the nation of Caitlyn and Mbessa. And then you have the Arcane with Jason Victor. And honestly, Mel is her own thing as well, but we're gonna lump Mel in with Caitlyn and Mbessa because familial relations, right? And if they were only doing like 2 of those, they might have been able to, like, you know, if you got rid of the Vi, Jinx, and Warwick one, because I think that is the weakest one personally. Because again, it feels like it's undermining the things that Jinx did at the end of season 1, where it's like, oh Jinx, you're just Warwick's little baby girl. Or oh Jinx, like it didn't know what to do with Jinx. I think is the main thing that is wrong with season 2. Because I also wrote down at some point, this was in season 2 episode 8. I wrote down it as my notes. When is Jinx a bad guy? The show never really shows her being a bad person, but they keep saying she is, which obviously Jinx did shoot the council at the end of season 1. Did blow up a bunch of people in season 1. But outside of that one moment, and I saw some stuff in season 1, in season 2, she's just like downtrodden. She's just being real sad girl hours, which is sad. Again, I said this earlier, Jinx and Savika should have teamed up and like instead ran Zaun, and like you would have had a much more interesting plot with that. But instead you have Jinx being with Vi, and they're like trying to like fix their dad, which it just doesn't feel impactful to me. I like Warwick, I like Vi, I like Jinx all together, but when they're all together, it's next week. Also, sorry, I smacked my mic. I think I might have popped. I don't know if it did or not, but... You can be maximum sad girl and commit atrocities. That's true. Which they didn't do, though. Because instead, Jinx was maximum sad girl, and she just sat around with Isha, and they fought Rhino Beetles together. And Isha did things for Jinx, which felt weird. I don't know what Jinx did in season 2, outside of like try to save Vander at some point. I guess Jinx gave power to Zaun at some point. She like there was a plot point in season 2 of Arcane where everyone was really excited for Jinx, and everyone was like dyeing their hair blue for Jinx, and like they had a rally for Jinx, and then everyone went to jail, and then nothing came out of that. That was like one episode, and it feels so like a drop plot point that they just were like, you know what, instead of exploring that, which would be extremely interesting, Jinx and Vi gotta go save Vander. It's sad, it's messed up. In the end, honestly, you know what I kind of like? I want to go back to my boys. My favorite part of Arcane was Jason Victor, mostly Victor, even if he did do a cult. I wasn't fully aware of him doing a cult. Like, I knew he was doing a cult, but he wasn't like a bad cult guy until like the very end when he mind controlled all of humanity. That's where he became a bad guy. But until that point, I was with him. Echo throws the thing at Victor, which Victor somehow knew what it was. Jace and Victor are in the Arcane together then, and they get to see that the person that gave Jace his amulet that he's had all show was Victor. It wasn't Rise like some people thought it was. It was Victor all along. And that's kind of cute. I kind of like that. But again, it felt... At some point, Jace gave like a speech, a moral speech, and it felt like it wasn't earned. It felt like Jace didn't earn the right to give that speech, and I kind of was looking at my TV like, did I actually write a note on that one? Hold on. I said Victor in the Arcane looks really cool, which I agree with. Like, Victor's normal redesign kind of mid, but when he's in the Arcane and all his colors are popping, he looks really neat. Oh, I also wrote down when Jace is in the Arcane, his hair is white, the hair on his head is white, but his beard is brown? Don't know what that's about. I feel like he dyes his hair. I wrote that as a note, and I feel like that's important. I stopped writing notes whenever they showed that Victor was the guy that gave Jace the Arcane Wild Rune, so that's fine. I came back when Oriana was Singe's daughter. That was amazing. But like, yeah, for that entire mid part, I don't have strict notes for it, so I have to go on my memory, which should be decent enough. It didn't happen that long ago, but like, that felt fun. But it didn't. I guess the moral is there were too many plots. They all got really shallow, and nothing felt earned at the end. And that's why season 1 of Arcane is amazing, and you should all go watch season 1 again. And then just that's it. It's just that one. Maybe get an abridged, get an edited version of this. And then you have, what else is there? Like, as the final wrap up, it showed like how things were after the entire battle with everyone. And I guess Victor and Jace are dead. Unfortunate. Or they're off in the Arcane doing stuff, which that'd be kind of cool. It never showed Echo in his tree. Wait a minute. Wait. Did it? Hold on. Hold on a second. Because Echo didn't die, did he? Did he? Hold on. I'm trying to find where my I'm just gonna Google it. Actually, googling it would be funnier. Did Echo die in Arcane? Question mark. Echo does not die in Arcane Season 2. He survives, but without enduring great loss. But not without enduring great loss. But wait. Did he have a scene at the end? No, he did. Wait. Why did they not show him with his tree and with his firelights? Echo's like reason for doing things at the beginning of season 2 was like, hey, my community, my family, the Fireflies or the Firelights, and me, and Heimerdinger, we have this tree that like gives us hope for the future. And we're gonna go and like try to fix it, and they accidentally do an Arcane, and they go into an alternate reality. And at the end of it, Echo and the Firelights come back, and they like help to fight off Victor and Mbessa and Noxus. And presumably at the end of all that, the tree should be fixed, right? But like Echo's ending is instead like sitting on a scaffolding looking at the city, which I guess in a way it's showing that there's hope for the future. Yeah, because I guess in a way I guess at the end Zaun and Piltover did kind of like make up their differences and start to come together. I guess that's fine. Echo should have hugged his tree or something. That's what I feel like. I feel like there wasn't enough tree service for Echo there at the end, or like just him with the Firelights or something like that. Like I legitimately thought he died for a second. So I was like, he didn't have an ending, did he? But he did. He was just there on screen, looking wistfully over the city, and I was like, he also lit a fire, right? They're on the bridge. They're lighting the fires that like go up. And he has the little piece of paper and he lights it and it goes off, right? So yeah, he had a slip of paper for Heimerdinger, which was cute. That's right. Okay, he did have an ending. Okay, I'm back with it. My memory, I guess, isn't that good. I still feel like that tree was important, and I kind of want to like, cause that was. Hold on, was that at the very end? Were there 2 endings? That sounds weird. I understand, but what's up, honey? By the way, happy Thursday, welcome in. Lahai's, happy Thursday, welcome in. I'm out of tea now. I have water bottle though. Hold on, I'm gonna smack my mic stand. I don't know if that one picked up. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna look up the end of Arcane episode 9 again real quick. When I say were there 2 endings, I mean okay, mute this by the way. I don't want them to know that I'm watching Arcane. So Caitlyn, okay, so there are basically 2 endings. Okay, because like the battle happens like Jinx, like the very last bit of the battle is Jinx, Vi, and Warwick, where Jinx does the sacrifice. It fades to black, and then it shows like the damage that the Arcane has wrought, which is a really cool effect, by the way, right? It has all the buildings, and they have all like this arcane crust, right? Like spewing off them, like ice in an ice storm that's like spewing from them. It's really neat. And it shows them on the bridge. They're all putting their papers in for the ones they've lost, and they burn it. Like, that's great. Yeah, and then there's Echo's scene. He's, like, sitting there. And then it cuts to what I assume is, like, the next day. Where you see Savika being on the Council of Piltover because she's a Zaun representative. That's great. Savika should have had much more screen time in the second half of Season 2. That's its own thing, though. You see Oriana. Amazing. Best part of the show. You see a crow pecking at like an arcane thing. You see Mel doing Ambessa's thing. It cuts again. You see like Caitlyn with her eye patch, looking like a. I didn't realize this until now. Caitlyn with her eye patch looks like even more of a villain. She looks like a James Bond villain. She should have been a fascist. She should have been a damn fascist. Because she's wearing. If you look at the end of episode 9 of Arcane, Caitlyn has an eye patch and she's wearing a dark turtleneck sweater. She looks like a villain. She looks like a James Bond villain. It's kind of great. I didn't notice how much she looked like a villain until now. Ooh, I noticed the crow had 3 eyes. Is that a Swain thing? I know that Swain has the crows, right? I love Swain. As again, top mid laner. If you could play it in top mid, I kind of know it, and it's kind of great. And with Swain, you hit R, you turn into a bird, you just go caw, 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 I'm a bird. People die, you survive, it's great. I forgot if he had 3-eyed birds. If so, that's great. Because Gabriel was in here earlier and was talking about how the next show they're probably going to do is a Noxus one, where Swain is probably going to be a major character, which is great, because Swain feels like he would be a great character. Demon Crow that made contract with Swain. Is that how that works? I didn't remember my League of Legends lore. And also they retconned a bit of it, so I don't know if that was like that in the past as well, but that sounds believable enough. I think one of the crows has 3 eyes. Ooh, that's like the main crow then. Ooh, that's cute. I will say, even though I'm not a big fan of season 2 of Arcane because they flubbed a few things, I think if season 1 is anything to go off of, I feel like they can do base stories well. It's only when you get into like trying to expand that base story that things get a little bit messy. So I would probably watch like Noxus or whatever they would want to call the new show. There'd probably be a lot of ties to Arcane, but if they kind of start off from scratch, right? And it's about like Swain doing like political maneuvering and being a villain, that'd be kind of sick. I would be so down for that. I want him to be Silco 2.0. What about Ionia? Noxus is definitely the next one, I was told, based on Gabriel, and I would trust Gabriel. Ionia would be neat. Ionia has a lot of stuff. Ionia has like the ninjas, right? It has Shin, Akali, Kennen, Zed, who splits away from them. That's like a little fun bit. It has Aurelia, fantastic. Oh god, who else is from Ionia that I know? I'm gonna be real. I always thought Oriana was from Ionia, but no, I guess she'd be from Piltover. I don't know where I don't know where she was actually from. It really didn't matter. What are their Ionians do I know? Is that it? Is that it for Ionians that I know? I feel like it's not. Yasuo. Yasuo's Ionian. Riven? Is Riven Ionian? I don't know. Second season retcon. What's up, Nukiyashi? It's true. I'm okay with it though, because I didn't remember any of the League of Legends lore. Outside of the fact that I think even before I quit, Warwick did make Singe. That sounded right. Or like right when I quit, that was when they changed the lore for that one. I don't know, like oh, the big one. I again, been forever since I interact with League of Legends. One that I was told about, because as I mentioned, I talked with a friend about this a little bit yesterday and a little bit last week. The guy I go to the gym with. He was explaining to me one of the things they retconned or changed was how Vi got her gauntlets, and kind of about Vi in general. Was because I had forgotten this, where Vi originally, like in the original lore, Vi made the gauntlets, where they kind of say it in the show where like the gauntlets were made for like mining, and I think in the original lore is like Vi, like they were mining gauntlets, and Vi was the one that tinkered with them and turned them into like weapons that she could use. And in the show, Jace just makes them for her, and when they get broken, she has to go back to Jace and be like, hey, fix these. And thinking about it, Vi also kind of got shafted a little bit in season 2, where I feel like she doesn't. What does Vi do in season 2 actually? I feel really bad saying that, but Vi and Jinx should not have been in season 2, or they should have had a much lower spot, because outside of being like the subplot with Vander, I feel like they don't really do a lot, and that's kind of sad. Like Vi didn't like get to like learn more about Hextech, or like learn to like use her wits, or she didn't get to like go full on like, I'm a dumbass, I love humanity, I am emotional. She just kind of was there a lot. I feel bad for Vi. Noxus Ionian War would be good. That would be good. That's what Gabriel was talking about, where it's probably like that's one of the things they could do with Noxus. Noxus Ionian War, Darius and Draven, of course, Swain, that's the huge one. The Black Rose apparently is a Noxus thing, where it's the Noxus Illuminati, where that was in Arcane season 2, so that's a clear carryover. That and Mel, because Mel is going back to Noxus. Like that's your intro into the series. It's probably gonna be Mel and Black Rose, which is gonna be worrying actually. I hope it's not. I hope it's not actually. Sursker, can I call this right now? I need to call this right now. When they come up with a Noxus show in like 3 years, I really, really, really hope that episode 1 does not mention Mel and does not mention the Black Rose or the Arcane. I want so badly that episode 1 through like 6 do not mention any of that, and like focus on building the groundwork for Noxus as a society. And then you can have Mel come in at the end of like in Act 3, like her mother came in to Arcane at the end of Act 3 of season 1. That would be great. That'd be it's like poetry, it rhymes too, right? Where like, oh, Mbessa came to Piltover in like the final act of season 1 and like change things. Mel could do the same thing, coming from Piltover to Noxus at the final act of season 1 to change things again with like the Black Rose and with her newfound powers and the knowledge that her mother is dead. Like, I hope that happens, and I'm gonna be sad when season 1 opens with Mel on a ship. You can quote me on that one, because that's gonna suck. It'll probably be fine, but in my head, again, we talked about that last week, where it's like, do you have anything in your head that's like so perfect that you never want to see it like done? And that's in my head now, and that will not happen. I'm gonna be sad. Because that's so good, right? The idea of like Mel coming back the same way that her mother came back to Piltover. That'd be so adorable. That's such a good like reference. Suga's always taking L, so I'm glad she got a W in the end. Yes. Sweet bun. Savika got so she got so much undeserved, like she didn't get to do anything. I think we mentioned earlier, and I think you mentioned it as well, where you said it was a good scene. I hope it was you or someone else. Gabriel, we were talking about it, but like there was a part where Savika and Jinx in like episode 2, they're in Silco's office and they're like commiserating. And I think it's in episode 2, yeah. Because then later that episode, she goes to like, you find out later she was making an arm. She's fixing Savika's left arm, right? Which she then gives to Savika and they make a team. And I so wanted one of the plots that got dropped that I thought was going to be great. And I mentioned this a while ago, but I don't know how many people were here when I was saying this, but the saddest thing about Act 1 is it set up a really interesting thing that I thought they were going to carry through for all 3 acts, but they didn't. Where I thought it was going to be about Caitlyn being a fascist and being in charge of Piltover. Meanwhile, Jinx and Savika have to become the new Silco, or more accurately, they have to become their own different leader for Zaun. I've made the reference multiple times to Simone from Gurren Lagann, right? Where Simone, when Kamina dies, Simone gives really sad boy hours for like 3 episodes. And then at the end of those 3 episodes, he has this moment where he becomes his own character. He steps out of the shadow of Kamina and becomes his own man, his own leader, and he does things his own way. And I would have loved so much if the entirety of Arcane Season 2 for Jinx and Vi and Caitlyn was Jinx and Savika stepping out of the shadow of Silco, leading Zaun in their own way, and then that's how Savika gets put on the council. Savika just gets put on the council because she was at the battle. She didn't even have a line in the final episode, it felt like. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she had a line in the entire final episode, which was sad. Like, I really hope they did more with that. They didn't. It's like, what? Oh, hold on. I never finished your entire message, so hold on. Jinx plus Sicko messes in Season 1. Plus, when Savika made that great speech in front of the Vander statue and the crowd went, "We won Jinx," I felt angry. Yes! She got shafted. Everyone just wanted Jinx. And Jinx was a symbol, but that plot point then also got dropped. So it was like, what was the point of having people want Jinx? And then, like, nothing really happened with it? Riven is Noxus, but is involved with Ionia and Yasuo. If they kept it that way, which they might. Doesn't Stench have a big part in the fight against Ionia? I think so, because I thought that's where his poison comes from. Which, in a way, they didn't really show his poison, right? Like, they show Singe and he's doing stuff like that, but, like, yeah, like, he hasn't done, like, his poison gas stuff. So maybe, like, the idea is that he sees, like, the gray, because I also mentioned this earlier. Did you guys also have the thought at the beginning of Season 2, when you see all the poison, I think it's in Episode 2, you see all the poison that's, like, the gray in the Undercity, and you're like, oh my god, that's Singe, she's doing a thing. And then it turns out it's Caitlyn and Vi and the Stormtroopers doing stuff. It's like, ooh, that was a legitimate, like, that was a fun little twist. So maybe the idea is, like, Singe is gonna see the gray and be like, ooh, we can use this to do bad. And then, like, he's at it again. The reason why Riven is exiled. Ooh. Piltover and Zaun conflict didn't have a satisfying conclusion. Yeah, it's just kind of... We have to work together to fight a common enemy trope. Yes, which they didn't even, like, focus on it that much. It, like... Did Savika even say anything in Episode 8, actually? Because Episode 8 was the one where I talked about, like, Jace walking into a room where he just said quiet when no one's really talking. And I thought it was just the merchants again. But I guess Savika was there too, thinking back on that scene. And I feel like there should have been more of, like, like, yeah, Zaun or the Undercity are on your side. Together we can do this, but like all of season 2 just kind of like it displaces itself from the setting, I guess is the best way to put it. Season 1, you're living in, you're seeing a lot of council scenes. You see them like at the opera house in Piltover. You're seeing them in like Caitlyn's house, and you're getting a lot of like family in Piltover. And then in Zaun, you're seeing like the last was it the last regret or the last dance or what? You're seeing them at the bar. You're seeing them like on the streets. You're seeing them in like when Caitlyn and Vi go to the deep part of Zaun, and they're like where everyone is shimmer affectedness. Season 2, I feel like outside of Act 1 didn't feel that like it could have been set almost anywhere, right? As weird as that sounds, like to me a lot of Act 2 was like either it was in Victor's Commune was episode 6, which is its own thing. That's not Piltover or Zaun. Even though it's in Zaun, it's its own thing kind of. It was at like a prison. It was at like an unnamed location where Ambessa and Caitlyn were fighting. Like there's not a lot of connection to like the actual land of Piltover or Zaun in Act 2. Similarly, Act 3, like you're in an alternate universe Piltover Zaun, which was kind of cool. I like that one. That's why it's the best episode. And then episode 8 and episode 9 are just kind of like, it's not about them being in this location. It's not about them like being nations and like this conflict that's raw. They just kind of team up to fight the big bad, which came out of nowhere that same episode. There's so many ideas that could have worked, but they just didn't pick one and go with it, I guess is the best way to put it. Silco, great. Silco season, let's go back to the season 1 bubble. Silco was the best one. He tied literally everything together. He was the big bad. We knew it from like episode 1. And yeah, it's just a little too rudderless that they just had to like kept trying out different things almost and then it just ended. I think that's what I got. In conclusion, season 2, it's okay. Could be better. Could be a lot better. Big Bad, more like the good dad. He can be both, and that's also what makes him good, Almina, is that he is a villain, he is the antagonist, but he's not necessarily like overtly evil. Like he has reasons to do the things he does, and he actually cares for Jinx, and he cares for the people in Zaun, to a certain extent. I think he's also putting like Shimmer on the streets, but that's a different thing. But he has like this dream, and he has this ambition, and like it makes him a really good character, where he feels conflicted at the very end, where he's like, I'm gonna get my hopes and dreams, but I have to give up my daughter to do this. It's great. In this one, you have like Victor, who I was on his side for the entire show up until he turned people into mind control, and it's like, oh, I guess I hate Victor now. Or Ambessa, again, Ambessa is like the closest you have to a Silco. But I just didn't care about her, I guess. That might just be a me issue, right? But like, the scale, the gravity of what was happening wasn't on Ambessa at the very end, so like I was more worried about Victor doing his things, I guess. OG lore about Singe, Riven, and Yasuo is that Singe gassed both the Ionian and Noxus army. Oh, really? I didn't know it did both. I guess because it's there's no way you can differentiate, right? So it just happens. Riven saw her Noxus comrades got gassed and felt betrayed. So she came to Yasuo's master to destroy her sword. Yasuo's master broke it and died from the wind explosion. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't know that. Do Yasuo and Riven hate each other then? I feel like I should know that. Yasuo was like a character that I played, actually. Yasuo was attacked to protect the dojo, but he left to fight Noxus, then came back to see his master dead. Ooh, and got accused of killing his own master. Ooh, that's fun. I didn't know that. So Riven got put in self-imposed exile in a way. Ooh, and they got... Oh, that's a fun little conflict. I don't think they would do that for a Noxus show. That's like, again, if the end of Arcane Season 2 is like setting up a Noxus show, what they would probably do is like in the Noxus show, they'd have like a war with Ionia, and that would set up an Ionian show. You get the ninjas. This unit is a flippin' ninja. I haven't thought about that like forever. Wait a minute, is that what is that word for word what it says? Is it this unit is a flippin' ninja? It is! Why did Riot remove this unit? Ah, they got rid of it. When did they remove it? 10 years ago! Oh. That actually made me age. They removed that Easter egg bit 10 years ago. Some of you have probably played the game and have never seen that before in your life, and you might think I'm crazy for saying this unit is a flippin' ninja. Whoo! Whew, okay. Well then, TIL. So, for those that don't know, in League of Legends, there's a trio, really a quattro of units. Shin, Kennen, and Akali, with Zed coming in a little bit later, because he's the bad one. And for a while, they had a buff that they got at the beginning of the game, which was just, this unit is a flippin' ninja. Which I think also might have given them like little boosts if you had multiple people on a team together. But they got rid of that at some point. So there you go, in case you didn't know. Wait, debuff, was it a debuff? Ninjas are more, oh, it was a debuff, hold on. Ninjas are more effective when they work alone. For every ninja on your team beyond yourself, you lose 1 health. Oh! This is only true for units who have this unit is a flippin' ninja cosmetic buff. Other champions with ninja skills, such as Ninja Rammus, do not count. Okay, so they got rid of it because of the, like, someone might have died with like 1 health or something like that. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's why they removed it, but hey, now you know. We always think you're crazy? Perfect. That's what I aim for, Nukiashi. You guys are gonna enjoy it tomorrow when we play Factorio then. That's gonna be me looking at a conveyor belt for 3 hours going like, why is this not working? Where did I go wrong? Riven's one of my favorites when I played. Everyone loves Riven. Everyone loves Riven, for good reason too. She has a very fun playstyle as well with her, she plays like a fighting game character. Plus, she didn't have to worry about resources, which made her really stupid. Because if you have a resourceless champion, they're going to be broken in some way or another, and they're probably going to be a little bit overpowered, which is, again, why the ninjas were also really strong, because they were all, stamina? Is that what it technically was? They were yellow, whatever the yellow thing was, which I think was stamina. So yeah, like Riven, any of the ninjas, I don't know who the other, like, manaless or stamina-based champions would be, but, like, yeah, they were all, like, great. The bunny girl skin. As wind power, and when it broke, it exploded. Really, it's a coincidence that Riven's sword and Yasuo are both wind power. Oh, really? Lahais, when I read that, I read it as like Yasuo has wind power because of his master, right? And I thought like his master destroyed Riven's sword using wind power, and because of the runes on her sword or something like that, it caused his wind power to explode, and that's why. I didn't realize that Riven's sword just inherently had its own wind power. That is actually very coincidental and funny. Huh. Or does it have wind power because of the master exploding it? Because she only really has the wind power when she reforges the sword, right? When she uses her R to reforge the sword, and then she like uses it again to go. Because I assume they have not reworked Riven, because I don't know what you could do to rework her in any way, shape, or form, really. Her Q is a triple hop, her W is a ha! Or a small AoE stun. Her E is a dash, her R is I'm gonna reform the sword, get a big damage buff, and then I can shoot the sword out later to do finisher. I remember my characters, look at that. Wind slash, aha. I believe it. The wind is what truly connects us. Says me, Ace Wind Fall. Well, it comes together, doesn't it? It's freaking windy. Windy? Me as a meteorologist. It's freaking windy out here. Alright, so how are we feeling about Arcane? Did we do it? Does anyone have any standing things they want to say? Any like, oh, I thought this was really cool. Was there anything I was thinking that was really cool before we wrap this bit up? I liked episode 7. I said it earlier this stream. Episode 7 was my favorite. Heimerdinger grew on me. When Heimerdinger showed up in season 1, I was like, this is such an unserious man. And when Heimerdinger like is in a cloak at the end of season 1, like sneaking around, I was like, this man is so unserious. But in season 2, he was in like 2 episodes generally, but like he did work. He came in, he sang a song, he died. Great character, loved him. Let me think. Is there anything else? Talked about how much I like Silco. Talked about how Jinx and Vice story really should end at season 1. Check my notes. Anything else? Caitlyn should have been a fascist. I liked Maddie until she turned to be a secret villain. That was weird. I think that's it. I wish there was more Fireflies. I wish there was more Echo in general. I think that's what I got. Alright. Source crew. Is there anything else I need to say? Just generally speaking. I feel like I wanted to make this like just a little short, just talking about Arcane and my thoughts, because I was going to finish it today, and I had feelings on... I had like... distinctly early on, at about like this point, right, I started to realize that I would want to talk about this, because I knew there was a distinct difference in quality. So I'm glad I was able to do this. I'm glad I was able to like talk through my thoughts, and I'm glad that, as I learned the other day, I'm not alone in thinking that season 2 is a bit weaker than season 1, and I'm glad we were able to talk about like the little bits and pieces that felt weird or felt unearned, and felt like they could be elevated. And I hope we're all cautiously optimistic for what can happen in the future, because like I think it could be really cool. Again, I think the style, the graphical design, the sound design, the voice acting, all that legitimately quality work. Season 1, legitimate quality work. Season 2, it just has that it's almost like a sequel problem, right? Where it's just like you got to take your characters and make them do bigger and better things, which works for Jason and Victor because they're dealing with the Arcane. That's inherently a bigger and better thing. But like they were afraid to like go too evil or go too messed up with some of the characters. And that kind of stinks. But I think those are my thoughts. So moral of the story: am I thankful for Arcane? Yeah. You know what? I am. Alright, sorry, screw. I think that's all I have. So, in case you didn't know, today is not the last stream of the week. Normally, Thursday would be the last stream of the week, right? We have a nice little, like, Elden Ring or something like that. Elden Ring, a one-off game. Maybe Zatsu like we're doing right now, and that'd be the end of it. Au contraire, mon ami. Because it is Thanksgiving weekend, we're having a little marathon tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. That's right, 3 whole days. Not 24-hour. I'm not insane. I need sleep and I need to do functioning adult things. But we're gonna be playing a lot of Factorio Space Age tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, starting at 4 Central, which is 5 Eastern, and 2 Pacific. And then you can convert that to your own time zone if you're not in America. I apologize. Basically, it's 2 hours after a Sunday stream would normally start. So if you're interested in that, please come check it out. It's gonna be going for, you know, probably roughly 8 hours each day, so basically 24 hours over the course of 3 days. Should be a lot of fun. I'm literally going to buy Factorio Space Age once the stream is done. Love Factorio, have like 300 hours in it. Very good game. We'll see how it goes, right? But with that, I got nothing else. So Search Crew, I'm gonna see what's going on in the Twitch space and send you guys out somewhere. See. And I think think I'm gonna send you guys over to friend of the show, Juice News. Juice News is currently playing Diablo 2. Nice little fun game. Sit back, relax, watch the man collect his coins, right? Go check him out. Go say hi. Go enjoy some Diablo 2 to wind down your Thanksgiving or just your normal Thursday, depending on where you're on the world, right? Or your Friday if you're in the other half of the world where it's the next day, right? But with that, doop and doop. Perfect. All right. So with that, I know nothing else. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to catch you next time. Peace out, everyone. All right, go say on 3, 2, 1. See you guys there, and have a good night.